In 2015, a billionaire with no political experience stood at a golden escalator and changed the entire world forever. Not just America, the entire world. Leaders in Brazil, Italy, France, Hungary, even countries that had never heard of him, started saying his name, copying his style, borrowing his playbook. So what exactly did Donald Trump do that broke 80 years of political tradition? To understand the Trump effect, you need to understand what the world looked like before him. For decades, global politics followed a predictable script: polished speeches, careful diplomacy, leaders who looked and sounded the same. Trade deals, alliances, international institutions. They were built on trust, consistency, and compromise. Then, in November 2016, 63 million Americans said, "We don't want that anymore." Trump's first revolution wasn't policy, it was communication. While other politicians hired PR firms and wrote carefully worded press releases, Trump tweeted, directly, unfiltered, at 3 a.m. He gave the media something they couldn't ignore: unpredictability. And unpredictability in the media business means clicks. The result? More media coverage than any other candidate in history. Most of it critical, but all of it free. This wasn't an accident. It was a blueprint. And politicians from Bolsonaro in Brazil to Orban in Hungary to Meloni in Italy, they all took notes. The second effect was economic, and it reshaped global supply chains overnight. When Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese goods in 2018, the world expected China to blink. China didn't blink. Instead, companies started asking a question nobody had asked in 30 years. What if we don't put all our factories in one country? Vietnam's exports surged. Mexico's manufacturing sector boomed. India suddenly became the world's new factory floor. One man's trade war, intended to bring jobs back to America, accidentally accelerated the diversification of the entire global economy. But perhaps Trump's biggest legacy isn't economic, it's political. He proved something dangerous and powerful at the same time: that an outsider, someone the establishment hates, can win the highest office in the most powerful country on earth. That message traveled faster than any trade deal. In Italy, Giorgia Meloni ran as an outsider and became prime minister. In France, Marine Le Pen reached the presidential runoff twice. In the UK, Brexit itself was powered by the same anti-establishment energy. Trump didn't start populism, but he gave it a face and a Twitter account that the whole world watched. Here's the uncomfortable truth: the Trump effect has no single verdict. To his supporters, in America and around the world, he was the first leader in a generation to actually say what millions of people were thinking. To his critics, he normalized division, weakened alliances, and left institutions more fragile than before. Both sides have evidence. Both sides have a point. And that is exactly why, years after he first came down that escalator, Donald Trump is still the most talked about, most searched, most controversial political figure on the planet. So here's my question for you. Do you think the world would be better or worse without the Trump effect? Leave your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to understand the other political figures who changed the world, hit subscribe. We're just getting started.